talking about it. So I look forward to seeing the report. If it's an honest report, it will say that. If it's not an honest report, it won't.
With me to discuss former federal prosecutor and MSNBC legal analyst Cynthia Oxney and former federal prosecutor Ariana Berg. But let's start first with NBC News' national security reporter Ken Dilanian. So Ken, you've had the opportunity to look through most of the 800 pages, but really the first 25 are really in focus right now. What was the takeaway in the context that you've been able to pull away from this?
Well, Richard, a lot of people were looking to this document to see whether it would reveal anything more about where Paul Manafort fits in, if at all, to any potential conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russia. And the answer, Richard, is that there is nothing, no information in this document reflective of that. The document sketches out Manafort's alleged, well, not alleged anymore, he's been convicted of these crimes involving illegal lobbying on behalf of Russian-backed Ukrainian interests. And Russian-backed's important here. These were people with ties to the Kremlin. So that when Paul Manafort came to work for the Trump campaign, he had a years-long history of this baggage, and everyone knew it. And now it turns out he was committing crimes and laundering money and committing fraud as part of that as well. However, there is no mention in here of, for example, the stuff we learned about in recent court papers, his handing of polling information over to Konstantin Kilimnik, a man that the FBI says has ties to Russian intelligence. That's unaddressed in this sentencing document. Now, there are a couple of possibilities as to why that would be. One is that Robert Mueller does have evidence tying Manafort to conspiracy with Russia, and he plans to bring another case down the line. Another possibility is he doesn't have that evidence at all. And a third possibility, Richard, is that he has some evidence Manafort fits into a collusion conspiracy that he's going to sketch out in his report that, as you said, we expect to be delivered to the Attorney General in the coming weeks. We're just going to have to wait and see. We don't know what Mueller knows, but we do know that he didn't put what he knows in this document.
Hey, Ken, so this D.C. case is in addition to the Virginia case, which we know about. It's 17 to 22 years, right? At least from what we understand so far. That's in addition to the 19 to 24 that's possible for the Virginia case?
Yes, but those sentences may be served concurrently. So, look, the bottom line, Richard, is that he's facing, a 69-year-old man is facing a life term. He could have had a very light sentence because he cut a deal and he was cooperating with the Mueller team. And then for some reason, a reason that remains a mystery, he chose to lie and cover up, and his deal was blown up. And that's one of the enduring mysteries of Paul Manafort is why did he lie? And in particular, why did he lie about his relationship with this potential alleged Russian asset, Konstantin Kilimnik? Mueller's team said in court papers that one of the reasons may have been he was seeking a pardon from the president. Well, we learned, NBC News reported yesterday, that the Manhattan DA is looking at charging Manafort with state charges so that any potential federal pardon would not get him out of the woods.
So, we look at this, Cynthia, with all of that that's come out that Ken has laid out for us. Is this enough now, you think, that will get Manafort to turn? And if not, do we know do we have an idea, or can we hypothesize why he wouldn't, based on, you add in the New York Attorney General? It seems like he's cornered here.
He is cornered. It's amazed me for, 2 years why he hasn't flipped, but he hasn't. And just by point of clarification, he'll be sentenced in the Virginia case first. And so the judge won't have an opportunity to see what he gets in the Virginia case. Even though the guideline range here is 17 to 22 years, he can really only get 10, according to the statute. And the judge can make a decision if she's going to make that run on top of what he gets in the Virginia case, depending on what she thinks about that, or if it just runs at the same time.
So why only 10 there, Cynthia?
That's the statutory maximum for these two counts.
For those two counts, gotcha.
Right. But he has all the other counts in Virginia, yeah.
To add an addition to that. Ariana, what stands out from the memo to you? Ken laid out 3 potentials here in terms of why we learned what we learned, or what we didn't learn today from the sentencing memo.
What stands out for me is that they really didn't answer the central question of whether Manafort played a part in the Russian interference with the U.S. elections. And as Ken alluded to, there's been some recent evidence to suggest that he had played a part, such as revealing the secret polling data to the Russian oligarchs, Russian government, and also, as even just as recently as a few weeks ago, the special counsel's office relayed what went to the heart of the special counsel's investigation was this August 2016 Havana meeting between Konstantin Kilimnik, Paul Manafort, and Rick Gates. So those are two instances that we know of, at least in the public record, that could suggest that Manafort did play a criminal part in the Russian interference with the U.S. election. But none of that is answered by this memo.